All right, guys, we're down here at Jason's. We're doing a quick follow-up on the SSP Mustang build, so let's check it out. I'm kind of excited to see this thing. Yeah, so the next big step is moving forward with the drivetrain. Yeah, okay. And you're pretty confident the transmission's in good shape?
Yeah, I mean, I tested that thing out and put it through the ringer. That transmission's great, other than the broken speedometer gear.
Awesome. There she is. Oh, look, she looks a lot different than she did last time we were here. Wow. That looks fantastic. Love it. Oh, you got one too. Cool.
Believe it or not, this one was from the '89 SSP I sold you.
Oh, is that right?
And I kept it.
Oh, how funny.
Remember, I put a radio in that
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
And
I love that radio delete. Wow, this looks fantastic. Look at the alignment, the fitment, the panel fitment is great. The trim looks amazing. Looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, this piece is NOS. This is a brand new cover. This has not been repainted. This is a genuine Ford piece. Yours was broken. These are original.
Nice.
These are the reproduction ones aren't near as good as the factory ones.
Got it.
So, obviously this is all original pieces.
That looks fantastic.
Mirrors are original. These are your NOS windows.
They look
restored.
Yeah.
Brand new out of the Carline package.
They look awesome. It really is amazing. The details, you know.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. Wow, it looks so good.
Looks. Not looking at the same car we saw last time.
What do you think, Alice?
Looks
way too nice for SSP.
I know, right?
Open and close the doors.
This is so
You
nice.
tell me if they're right.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Sounds so good. Sounds so
You
90s.
can shut it with a finger.
90s.
Unbelievable.
These are the lights that were from the '93 Florida car.
Got it. Yep.
They got a little bit of age, but they're genuine.
No,
Ford
they look
parts.
fantastic. That roof looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That roof was the roof from hell.
Jason. Looks amazing, dude. You know what's funny? The California Highway Patrol never put call-out numbers on their roofs.
That's fun.
You know, it's a lot of agencies, you know, state, city agencies, county agencies will always do a call-out number. But for whatever reason, CHP on their Mustangs anyway, they never had call-out numbers on their cars.
Do you think they'd want to have them in case if there was a helicopter?
Well, yeah, and that's and that's usually what they're for. Now I believe their canine teams had them, you know, because the helicopter would obviously want to know where the canine unit was in relation to arriving on scene. But it's just interesting because I never. None of the CHP cars I bought when I was a kid, you know, because remember I bought these things in 82, 83, 84, you know, just out of high school. I was bidding on these at the Highway Patrol sales office over there off the 110 freeway in Carson, and you know, they were all kind of worn out, 80,000, 90,000 mile cars. But yeah, it was funny. There's none of these things ever had call-out numbers on the roofs. But
now keep in mind, this is base coat clear. So when this car was brand new in '88, it didn't look nothing as nice as this.
No, there's no way. Yeah, this car is amazing. Like Alex said, this is too nice for an SSP car.
Stage, right?
No, that's basically no. They were single stage.
Originally,
They
yeah.
were single stage, yes, sir. They didn't have base coat clear those years, but these color cars they were single stage because they were black or white.
This car is stunning.
Yeah.
This car is stunning.
Let's pop the hood and.
Yeah, car is stunning. Looks so good. So you guys, this is why we bring everything to Jason. If you want it done right, yeah, I'm super impressed. God, the quality of paint looks. Oh, look at that.
A lot better than it was. I mean,
Wow.
This car before had
Wow.
white
Wow.
odor spray.
It was everywhere. Yeah.
It was everywhere. It was terrible.
Wow, that's fantastic. So there's the McLeod.
Yeah, we got that in.
Cool.
You got 93 Cobra brake booster.
Nice.
93 Cobra master cylinder. I did order a 93 windshield wiper motor cover to hide that ugly wiper motor. Put the battery back where it's supposed to be. Remember,
Yep, that's right. It was in the trunk before.
This car had an issue too with bad grounds. They literally just had the cable going from the positive to the trunk floor, and that's not right. You got to run the ground all the way back to the computer ground, to the back of the motor.
Got it.
So this car had some issues when it came in when it was running, and I know it had something to do with the ground. So
wow, it
that's
looks
a used OEM
amazing.
Ford battery tray, not aftermarket.
Nice.
So try to use as many original Ford parts as possible.
Looks fantastic, man.
Put a new ignition coil in. Put a new starter solenoid. We have Motorcraft battery cables.
This looks fantastic. That's new.
Yeah, it's brand new. The little touches like this really set it off.
Yeah, it really does.
When this goes all back together, there's a cover that goes over this, and I'll have the decal for the emissions label.
Oh, nice.
We have the decals that go here, but I'll put those on. Cars running, done, washed, AC working.
Every little bracket. It's all nicely.
Yeah, all the stuff was
done.
been media blasted and refinished.
Oh man, it looks sensational.
All the stuff was all covered in paint. New AC condenser.
I was going to say that looks brand new in there.
Brand new. I'm not going to run the old condenser.
Oh man, it looks fantastic.
The bumper is brand new. It's a reproduction, but it's Ford tooling.
And I saw you put the holes in the correct spot, you know, for the.
Yeah, they're
siren.
Perfectly lined up.
Yeah.
They're not randomly drilled like the.
Well, a lot of them were.
So
yeah.
That was one of my things. I like having stuff to look like Ford put those holes in.
I like the way that looks.
The car looks ugly with these wheels because they're
right.
Those aren't the correct tires. Obviously, the wheels
right.
are a little dirty.
Right. But my God, the body is sensational on this car.
I mean, look down the side of it. Remember how bad them doors were?
Yeah, I know. This is way too nice for a police car.
Yeah. Like I said, all the body gaps. These are all.
It's gorgeous.
This is all original sheet metal except for that driver fender we replaced.
Yeah, you put a new fender on it?
And
Oh,
actually,
man.
that fender had been replaced before. It was a Ford service fender.
Oh, was it?
So it had been hit before.
Oh, how funny.
So we replaced it with another one. And I got the gaps as best as you can get them.
That's fantastic.
And without having to make a fake edge with body filler. It's all metal edges.
Awesome. Yeah, the Florida State Trooper cars had fender work done on that side.
Yeah,
At some point, I'm going to have to find another fender and have you do that car,
Yeah.
or at least that side of it. But oh man, this looks sensational.
We have
Love
all
it.
the original locks. They all have the one key, which is
Fantastic.
really nice. Sometimes
Yeah, that's convenient. Really convenient. Wow, that looks
it's
great.
kind of dirty now, but this trunk was a mess. It was a disaster.
It looks fantastic.
I just kind of threw this cover on, but you can see behind her how nice it's all been repainted.
Oh yeah, super nice. Jason, it's beautiful.
These cars, when they were new, the only liner they had was this piece.
Is that right?
The SSP cars did not have liners or a floor piece.
Yeah, I kind of recall that.
Now, the 89 I sold you, I put all that stuff in.
I remember, yeah, because I thought when we started going through that car, I'm like, a lot of this stuff wasn't here.
But I gave you all the original pieces. We are missing
Right.
there's a little cover that went around the spare tire cover. We
Right.
don't have that.
Got it.
I don't think that's the end of the world. You probably will never find one, but
This car looks amazing.
you
Looks
look
so
how
good.
the gauge cluster. Remember how dingy that thing looked?
Yeah,
Let's
I
sit in
know.
This thing now. Tell me if you can tell the difference with the seat. Before that seat was all blown out.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, man, that feels way better.
Before you hit the floor.
Oh yeah, man, this is awesome. I can't this. So did you have to add a lot of foam to
I
it?
didn't add any foam. The foam was still in pretty good shape. It's worn a little bit, but
Right.
it was more or less the seat frame was busted.
Got it.
And it was also busted on one of the seat tracks bolts too. Every single Fox body that I get that has a lot of miles, the seat frame is always broken. Now the dash is original. I took the dash out. You saw it.
Yeah, you cleaned it up. It
washed
looks really good.
Got the 30-some years of all that dust out of it.
And you know, that's the thing. You can't just give it a quick look over. You really have to absorb everything that's been done to it. I mean, all the little details in the bolts, the nuts, the screws, the little emblems.
It takes so much time to put these things back together.
I could see that.
correctly. And like I said, it has all the correct hardware.
Yeah.
A lot of this, there's a lot of things that weren't correct, and I had to go through my stash of extra bolts and pick out all the little pieces, find the nicest ones.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the ones I'm gonna go back onto the right length screw, the correct head.
Right.
Because I know these cars, I've taken so many apart. I know.
Of course.
I can tell what screw
Yeah.
goes where.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can tell, oh, that's the wrong one.
You probably know before you even get into these things, okay, I know I'm going to replace these nuts, these bolts, because they're going to be flawed.
Like these pieces here, these plastic parts, they don't make these. These things are always rotted out and broke. These things are in phenomenal shape.
Wow.
These
Well,
things
those
are
are in
always
pretty good
rotted
shape.
right here. Look at yours. I can scratch it. And
That's
it's not
fantastic.
flaking.
I didn't realize they were in that good a shape.
These things are nice.
Wow, that's good.
But these, you got to find
And
them
that's a notchback only.
this is a notchback
Yeah, because a
only part.
fastback it's completely different.
This is a 3-year 87 to 89 style. Oops.
Yeah, so for 3 years, that's all they made
Well,
in it for a notchback.
but yeah, pretty much. Like I said, like a 90 to 93 has the hole for the seatbelt in different spots. So you
Yeah,
can't
fair
use
enough.
those, but these are hard to find.
Yeah,
They're always rotten.
yeah, true.
So
That's cool. They're in
anyways,
good shape.
just stuff like that. I mean, I've actually purchased notchbacks in the past just to get the interior pieces
Wow.
I needed. Put junky stuff back in and just resold the car.
That's amazing.
And that was years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
TikTok.
You can't find nothing now.
TikTok times.
Yeah, I just
think, yeah, man. And and now the whole industry is changing. I mean, this industry is so tied to what the economy is doing, and the economy is in a weird spot right now where
parts availability, everything's just hard to get. It's taking longer to get parts, and I mean, I had to wait a while on getting some of the stuff from Maxim Motorsports on this.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I mean that bumper reinforcement panel, which you can't see, but it took a while.
I saw you sent me a picture of that thing. That thing is gorgeous.
Let's have a look at this motor here.
All right.
As you can see, I got the supercharger.
Oh yeah,
just
there you go.
Mocked up here.
Okay.
We haven't taken this motor apart yet, but we've got this thing just mocked up. I wanted to. There was some misinformation that I got when I first made, because I originally purchased this supercharger.
Yeah.
And I remember the salesman told me, he says, "Hey, look, to make this, I wanted the GT40 intake." And he says, "Okay, if you're going to put this on a GT40, it's got to be a 93 Cobra lower or a North American Ford Motorsport lower intake." And he says the pulley alignment was going to be the issue. And I did have a GT40 or an actual 93 Cobra lower, but I had sold that prior to selling you that. This is a Ford Explorer lower intake. I believe it's off a 96 or 7.
Okay.
And what do you know? It fits perfect.
Wow. I mean, because the pulley alignment looks great.
Yeah, and that was my concern. So, like I said, this is where we're at now. I haven't taken the motor apart, but this motor has been gone through as far as I can tell.
Okay. Do we know if it's a matching numbers motor, or is there a way to tell?
I haven't checked that yet.
I don't know that it really matters.
I
could care less, to be honest with you. But
usually the last, 6 to 8 digits of the VIN should be stamped on the number. I know the transmission is original of the car.
Got it. Okay.
That I can verify, but I have to check that and see.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But it's got an aftermarket oil pan. It's got an aftermarket timing cover.
Okay.
It's got an aftermarket balancer. And I don't know why that stuff was replaced, but I'm going to go ahead and I did source you a nice used oil pan.
Nice. Okay.
I do have a nice original Ford timing cover.
Sweet.
And I'm going to order a nice Ford balancer for it, an original balancer.
So you're going to pull it all apart, and we're just going to look at all the componentry.
Yeah, I'm going to look at this. Engine ran great. I mean,
right.
It didn't run. It had a misfire when I got it for you, but I fixed that. It had a bad plug wire.
Got it.
This cap rotor and wire assembly is actually not off your car. This was a donor one that I had. I just threw it on there because it was easier.
Got it.
And fixed the misfire, but because I was telling you the battery was in the trunk,
right,
and had a ground issue, this motor just wouldn't run properly.
It didn't run great. I remember you and I had a conversation right after you took possession of it. You got it running to where it was running pretty well, and you said the motor sounded pretty good.
Yeah,
because I thought it was a timing chain cover, but you said it was the distributor.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Kind of nasty.
I did have here is a good used distributor.
Right.
Now this one needs to be gone through, but you can see how much play this one has. This is pretty normal. This is actually off an '89 Mustang with about 100,000 miles.
Oh wow. Okay.
And that thing ran and drove great. Now your distributor, let's pull this one out here. You can see this one just by looking at it.
Oh geez, it's a lot of play.
That was the noise this thing was making.
So what I thought was a timing chain.
Well, I'm almost positive it was this.
Because that sounds like it.
I took the belt off, so maybe it's an alternator. And I ran it with no belt and still did it. So I'm like, okay, it's inside the rotating assembly.
Got it.
It's something with that.
Right.
Either the timing chain, the camshaft, or it turned out to be this. So this is wasted. We're going to go ahead and
put a new one in.
I might just rebuild that one.
Got it.
Put a new coil in it and a new TFI module. So yeah, the next week or so, I'll pull this down.
Okay.
Look at the heads.
Okay.
If the heads don't have any cracks and they're rebuildable, we're probably just going to go ahead and rebuild them.
Okay.
We'll put a new timing chain, gear set in it.
Right.
I'm going to put new lifters in it.
Okay.
We're going to keep the stock 88 camshaft just so we have better drivability.
Okay. Are you going to look at the cam?
Yeah, I'm going to take all that stuff out, check it over, look it over real good. But this thing ran pretty strong.
Okay, good.
And the compression was even, and there was no knocking. The oil pressure seemed to be fine. So. Right. And I'll know all this when I take it apart. If I see anything questionable, obviously I'm going to bring it to your attention and we'll address that issue. But
it's funny how the Kenny Bell's upside down, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just because this is kind of a universal part.
Right. So I see. Yeah.
But yeah, it does look like, man, how come that's upside down?
I know.
Yeah, that's just how they are.
The reason why we went with this, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but this is actually a CARB, California Air Resource certified supercharger. So our goal with this car is to keep it relatively stock, and we're going to put historical plates on it. But this one, being that it's CARB certified, makes it legal for California use. So we're going to keep it that way, and that's why I went this direction. How much power is this thing going to make?
I mean, it's probably going to make, this supercharger will probably add about 80 to 100 horsepower over stock.
Got it. Okay.
So you'll notice it.
Yeah, it'll be there. I think I'm assuming, because all the Kenny Bells I've had in the past, especially on the Shelby GT500s, the earlier GT GT500s. Man, the noise these make are phenomenal.
Yeah, this is awesome. That's one of the reasons I purchased that.
Yeah,
supercharger.
I love the whine that the Kenny Bell.
The throttle blade will not be hard to push the throttle accelerator.
That's funny. We were just having this conversation on the NSX build because we put towed ITBs, and there's a little bit of a disconnect from utilizing that. It's all cable, and yeah, that's great. That's good to hear.
Yeah, so it's going to have, and obviously this is from my stash too. Is this bigger EGR spacer, bigger throttle body? We're going to add this.
Oh wow, okay.
And then we're going to put either BBKs or Bassani headers on here.
I was going to say, yeah, these are a little small. Are they? They're larger than this in terms of diameter.
These ones leak.
Okay.
They're cracked where they
enough.
mount, and it had an exhaust leak. So we're going to replace those with smog legal. So it'll have the supercharger, the headers, EGR spacer, different throttle body, and I'll have a bigger mass air meter.
Nice.
And we're going to leave out the silencer in the airbox.
Okay.
We're going to have a stock airbox on it.
Okay.
And that'll be the only modifications in the car. Stock camshaft, stock 308 gears, stock T5 with a nicer. You supplied the nice clutch and flywheel with it.
Right. Got it.
So it'll have a heavier clutch, and this car will run pretty good.
Sweet.
It'll be reliable. The AC is going to work. It's going to idle nice. It's not going to have any.
That's important.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons.
AC is always important.
Yeah. AC. Got to have AC.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, check this out. This is the Marty report we ordered a while back.
Oh, nice.
And
that's cool.
We've got the reproduction window sticker with it, which is kind of.
So Marty is a company that they're licensed with Ford Motor Company, and they provide all the original remakes of window stickers, and that's so cool seeing the Marty report.
Yeah.
This is the breakdown. It shows the window sticker and the original labels, and that's so cool. Yeah. Dixon, California. So Ron Durat Ford was the company that contracted with California Highway Patrol.
And
there was a couple of them.
The car came from the exact same dealership.
same fleet dealer.
They're probably the one that, like I said, ordered all of them.
Right, they do. They get a pretty significant discount.
Is that dealership still around?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm assuming they are, but who knows? Yeah, look at that. That's so cool.
Yeah, and that looks very authentic.
It does. It really does. $12,825.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? Can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, back then that was probably still a fair amount of money, but
special paint, yeah. It's funny. So many manufacturers, or I should say, so many city agencies, county agencies, actually acquired the SSP Mustangs with automatic transmissions. There were quite a few agencies that went with automatics. But interestingly, though, the State Trooper Florida car was pretty much equipped the same as the California Highway Patrol car, minus, these cars come with no spotlights, no aerial, no antenna stuff.
Right. Bare bones.
All that stuff
Manual
is made.
Mirrors. I mean,
yeah,
you'd
exactly.
think you'd want the electric mirrors. The 89 had electric mirrors.
Back in the day, way back in the day when I was a police officer, I relied heavily on power windows. And the fact that, whenever I'd get in my early days, I'd get into a couple of the early Caprices that had roll down windows. Yeah. And there was nothing worse than having to lean across the seats to roll a window down.
And that's a long reach on a Caprice.
It is. Yeah. So, but, being a Mustang body is much smaller and having long arms, it's not a big deal. But I was surprised that they wouldn't have opted for power windows.
Maybe because it was just more reliable.
Maybe.
It was going to work. Same thing with the manual
transmission. That could very well be.
The AODs will probably just burn up if they drove them too hard.
That's true.
Shift. And most of the guys that I've heard, they actually like the 5-speed better.
Oh, for sure. I mean, being a driver, an enthusiast, I think most people would want to have a manual transmission car. But the fact that they went with the automatic transmissions on some of these agencies was interesting. But you're right.
A couple of FBI SSP cars were automatics.
Yep. A lot of the federal agencies went with automatics. Yeah. Because they're not pursuit driving.
They're just they're just undercover cars.
Convenience.
They're on the radio. They want to be able to drive and shoot at the same time. Probably, who knows? But,
probably, yeah.
But the Highway Patrol guys, they're in the same situation. They got to have a radio.
Yeah.
They're on the freeway most of the time, obviously, and
it's true, but when it comes to reliability, it's a lot easier to replace a clutch than an automatic transmission. Rebuild.
Ford did a lot of testing on these cars before they actually started purchasing. Let's make sure these things can hold up.
Yeah, they sure did.
And most of the guys obviously say, "Hey, I want the manual transmission. We don't want the automatic."
It's just so much more fun. And engaging.
I've had both cars, and I actually really enjoy driving the automatic with the right gear ratio.
Right.
355 or 373. They're really fun to drive, just as a commuter, but. For the all-out enthusiasts, obviously, manual transmission is what most people want.
Well, and today, everything's automatic. I mean, it's really hard to get a manual transmission car in anything. Right. So there's nothing better than going out and putting a car through its gears, but especially when it has a nice exhaust note. But Yeah, man, this is awesome. So all this stuff, this is all part of the detail that goes into a full restoration. So we haven't even gotten to the point where we're going to start building, and you know, I'm such an idiot. I came down here today and I forgot to bring all the stuff that you asked for. I forgot to bring the spotlights, which took me forever to find, and the aerial roof antenna and the whip antenna, all that stuff I conveniently left at my desk before we left. And so I'm going to overnight that to him, but he wants to, your plan is to fit all that stuff.
Yeah, I want to get all that stuff in there. I want all the interior back in, and then we'll start on the motor. And
got it.
I want to have that car as you know, as much as complete as possible before I start another project.
Okay. Okay.
So,
no,
that shouldn't take that long as long as we don't have any problems.
Got it.
You know, but
yeah, it seems like it's pretty much straightforward. I don't see anything.
Like I said, it wasn't like the motor was grenaded, but
yeah.
you know, like I said, I'm not going to put something back together that's questionable. And
right. And exhaust, is it the original exhaust?
We have the original exhaust. Okay. It is cleaned up.
Just cleaned up because it's still. It looks like it's almost
got the original
stainless
pipes. Yeah, I cleaned those up. They had overspray all over them, and I had to clean all that stuff up. And you know, it's probably not in the best shape, but
it's all right. It'll do.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
You know, the catalytic converters, same way. I'm going to clean those up.
Okay.
And like I said, that's something if you don't like, you can always change it later.
Right.
But it's very hard to find these cars now with original exhaust. I've had a couple in the past.
Yeah.
And I actually like the stock exhaust.
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't like having the car super loud like I used to when I was younger, but I just like to be quiet. I like to be able to listen to the radio. And
yeah, for sure. And, well, and it's funny because, you know, and this is something that we talked about a little bit. I hit it a little bit on the last video. You know, how long ago was it? Was it 4 years ago that you did the other SSP that I built the SSP Mustang?
I want to say it was 2017 is when I sold you that car.
So it's about the time, because I went and literally turned it into a CHP car.
Yeah, right away.
Right away, because it was a real CHP car, and that.
You bought the car from me, it was all black.
Right.
I installed a factory premium sound system in it.
Got it.
Added all the stuff in the trunk, but other than that, it was all SSP. Everything was
there. So in building a California Highway Patrol car, a lot of you might think, you know, it's just a matter of getting it back to what its original condition was in. But the reality of it is that was 4 years ago that I did the first SSP Mustang to CHP. This is now, here we are 4 years later, and I'm finding it nearly impossible to find some of the original radio equipment. The original Motorola CC1 or Mycore radio that was used back in these models, I haven't seen one for almost a year. I've been looking and I have not found one. The actual Unitrol system that controls all the lights and all the emergency equipment is made by Federal, and that's a CC1 specially built for highway patrol. They don't exist. So this is becoming a real challenge on this car. I'm going to have this car back from you, and when I built the last one, I was able to acquire everything
in a short amount of time.
In a short amount of time. It will likely be. You know, I have other CHP cars that I've bought or I've restored over the years, you know, Diplomats and different models that I could steal some of the original equipment out of. I just don't want to deprive that car of original equipment to make this one. But it's going to be a real challenge. And I think in building, for any of you guys interested in building a highway patrol car, and it's something you think you might get yourself around to doing at some point, start acquiring the parts now, because that's going to be the biggest challenge, I think. You know, I was able to find a guy that actually bought a lot of, I think, 10 whiptail antenna bases that CHP used back in the late 80s. So I bought all of his inventory just so I can have it. Antennas are getting harder and harder to find, the original VHF antennas. But you know, getting it to this point is even getting harder, because like Jason just said, the NOS original quarter windows don't exist. You can't find them. There was a company that made them for like a year and a half, he was saying, and of course, I don't know whatever happened to those guys. I never see them.
Well, they're still around, but it's like they don't produce the windows anymore. They're having an issue producing them.
Got it.
But again, they're not original.
Yeah, they're not car-like windows. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's getting harder and harder and harder to build these Fox bodies, and I don't know that there's going to be much equipment left in the future.
As every day goes by, there's less and less stuff available.
Right. So, you know,
that's like anything else.
I was so excited to actually restore this back to its original intended purpose. You know, and this describes it. This was a California Highway Patrol purchased vehicle. It was built for the CHP's use, and the fact that we're putting it back to that is really cool.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Like I said, I think that other than putting this motor together, and that's the next challenge, but like I said, trying to get the radios and stuff that you want to put it back in the car for the
That's going to take time.
Yeah.
I mean, the car is going to sit at the warehouse. It'll sit in the collection of other CHP cars we have until we can acquire everything to make it right. But, you know, it is a little unique. It's not completely original, the fact that we're putting, I mean, let's face it, we
put some different stuff. We put subframe connectors, we put adjustable rear control arms.
All that stuff.
We have
is
casted
awesome.
canter plates. We're just making some improvements.
Yeah.
And you know, we're going to probably put some nicer tires on it.
We're going to plan a track day with this car, and it's going to be a day where we bring out all of, you know, I'm going to bring out the Florida car, and we'll bring this car out, and we'll have some fun with it. Of course, with the amount of work and effort that went into this restoration, we're going to wrap the entire front end of this car because I can't afford to see it get any rock chips in it or not, whatnot. But this car is going to get driven very, very rarely. I mean, first of all, it makes it tricky to drive around in a car that's fully equipped as a police vehicle and has all the call outs for highway patrol. So we'll have to make...
mean, I'm only going to be able to drive this thing around my neighborhood. I can't go on the road, nothing like that. I'm just going to drive it.
Yeah, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and not to mention the fact that, you know, it's against the law in the state of California to drive a vehicle that resembles a current motor vehicle. Now, there are provisions in the California Vehicle Code that says any vehicle that's over a certain age can technically be driven around as long as you have call out parade use only, you know, off, you know, for out of service, all those important call outs that you have to put on the car, and we'll make those for this one. But
yeah, I can't wait. Do you have all the decals for this car?
I do. I have a set, and they're actually a little older than I like. Okay. I have a company that, when I did the first car, we were Vitchrome, I think it's Vitachrome, was the company that originally manufactured the CHP decals. They've been long out of business, but I found the guy that worked for the company and had the actual artwork and remade 5 or 6 sets for me. Okay, so one of the guys actually bought some of those. I'm going to reach out to him and buy another set because I actually have 2 more Diplomats I have to complete, and so I need a set of graphics decals for those. So I'm going to have those remade.
Are they the same decals, like the same
size?
They
are. They're exactly the same. You know, so like the Crown Victoria, the Diplomat, the Caprice, they all shared the same graphics.
So it just gets the door decals and the ones on the deck lid.
Right, right. And then of course you get the little call outs on the quarter panel, protect and serve, or whatever their logo was in the time. You know, they changed through over the years. Some had reflective tape used on the back, and other ones didn't. I don't put any of the reflective tape on mine.
But anyway, yeah, I'm glad you came out today. And
yeah, thanks. Well, the weather is perfect. It's not a blistering hot day. Yeah.
So you first bought the car. It wasn't so great to look at. Then the second time you seen the car, it was all on a rotisserie and primer.
Yep.
And then here we go. Here we are today.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, so. It's gorgeous. Man, I can't wait to see the next visit. It's going to look fantastic. Yeah, not to mention it's going to sound cool.
It should be going into the next month and a half. We should have this thing back to life, running.
Sweet.
And
well, I will send you that stuff out as soon as I get back to the office. We'll box it. I'll box it up and send it to you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Cool. Well.
Awesome, dude.
Well, cool. Until next time.
Until next time. Thanks. Thanks, Jason. Yep. All right. Cool. It just looks freaking so bitchin'. Okay. All right, guys, so stay tuned for our next video. The next time you see this car, it will be running and driving. It will have the engine installed, and we'll be preparing it to take to our shop for the CHP equipment to be installed and wrapping up the entire CHP restoration. So if you guys like what you see, please give us a comment. We'd appreciate a thumbs up. We'd certainly appreciate you subscribing if you haven't already. And, you know, tell us about what your builds are, and if you have questions, you know, this is the 3rd one I've done now, and I can share with you if you guys have challenges building your own CHP car. You know, please hit me up. There's lots of resources available on the internet. I could point you to some of those resources if you haven't found them already. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one.
Been pulled over by a CHP Mustang, but when I first got my driver's license, these cars, they were still in service. They were probably about the end of their life.
Right.
But I seen a couple of them, and I used to hate these cars.
I know.
When I was younger.
So cool.
And you could tell by the headlights.
Yeah, you could tell. Yeah.
It's a Mustang. It's gonna be.
It's funny when Taurus came, when Ford made the Taurus Police Interceptor version, they were hard to tell apart because they look similar.
They were almost. You couldn't tell them.
Isn't it funny when you look back in your childhood, and when I say childhood, I mean 16. I could tell you what a headlight configuration of any car was, and especially those used in law enforcement.
Not now.
No, not now. Now it's really hard. Now they're all SUVs. One of my favorite police cars was the '89 Chevy Caprice. And when they came out with that big bulbous '91 Chevy Caprice that looked like a big eggplant upside down, that car, although it was pretty quick, it was just really ugly. And it was a really hard, that was a big pill to swallow for anybody driving those cars back in the day, you know, police officers.
And unfortunately, like I said, the square bodies, the old 77 to 90 body style, those things are gone.
Oh yeah.
But they made millions.
No, the 91 Crown Vic is my favorite.
Oh, 90, yeah, I'm sorry,
91.
Crown Vic.
Yeah.
91 Crown Vic is, would be nice to have one sitting right next to the
Oh, they're gorgeous. And it's funny because CHP actually put hubcaps on their cars. It had a lower rocker molding. They kind of prettied them up a lot. And where most the CHP cars were, you know, your poverty caps, no moldings.
No vinyl top.
Right. Nothing. But all the 91, you know, the Crown Vics they used from 90, 89, 90, 91, those all had full wheel covers and rocker moldings down the side. And the 89 Caprices were pretty much dressed up the same way. I loved 89 Chevy Caprices in police configuration, police interceptors. They were phenomenal cars. They ran amazing. And then of course in 95, the Chevy Caprice, you know, started getting a full wheel arch, and it was the LT1 motor, and that was actually,
right,
you know,
the run. 96 was the last
exactly.
year.
And the 91 Police Interceptor Caprice was kind of ugly. 92, 93.
Had a 5-liter, low power.
They had they had 5.7s, but they were underpowered 5.7s. And then 95 was a change out year. That also happened to be the year they introduced the Impala SS. And so, you know, a lot of those old police cars were turned into Impala SS replicas, you know.
But again, those cars, they're hard to find too now.
Very hard to find.
They're all beat up, trashed.
Very, very hard to find.
No police ones left. They're just all gone.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll see one pop up on eBay, and it's just been some car that someone bought and parked in their garage.
And you can't get nothing for the interior, like from General Motors. Can't get any pieces.
Nothing.
You have to buy 3 or 4 or 5 cars to put one together, and it just costs you too much.
And that's the challenge. That's the challenge in restoring some of those mid-90 cars, is that no one reproduces any aftermarket components for them. You have to rely on wrecking yards, junk yards, or those old grandparents that parked it in the garage and didn't leave it in the sun to get beat up in the, you know, where the dash shrinks into a prune. It's hard to find that stuff, and that's the challenge in restoring cars. It's so much easier restoring a 60s Mustang, Chevelle, Impala, Caprice, Camaro. I mean,
most of the stuff's available.
Classic Industries, all these aftermarket suppliers. Hell, you could buy a brand new body from Dynacorn, I think it is, that sells in a complete body shell of a Mustang Fastback. So those are easier to restore than anything you see from the mid to late 90s.
You know, like this car here, they make a lot of stuff for it, but still there's a lot of pieces like OEM sheet metal. You can't beat it.
Yeah, true.
They don't make roof skins for these cars.
I know.
You know, you got to fix the one you got or find a donor car.
I know.
Like,
look at the line on this car. This thing is just laser
this body
straight.
line right here is really hard to keep the same.
It looks amazing.
It's a real faint line, but it's there.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
This car was in pretty good shape, minus the freaking roof.
Yeah.
I sound like a broken record, but
no, I know that roof was a pain.
The roof was pretty bad, and I said the doors are pretty beat up, but the doors are easy to repair compared to the roof.
Yeah, you got a great panel fitment. Looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look at the panel line down. Look at this.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
It's even all the way around.
It's so cool. Oh, this car is amazing. I can't wait to see it.
And look at that line. Look how nice and crisp that line is.
I know, it's beautiful. And I love how you cleared over it. You can't feel it. It didn't come like that from the factory.
No, you could feel the...
you could feel the line.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's gorgeous. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to get this thing back to you.
Well, you know, we'll just go ahead and move forward, and you know, we'll be in touch. Now, like I said, I'll be going back to the office and I'll be overnighting.
Yeah, you don't have to overnight. Just send them regular. Just send them regular FedEx. Overnight's going to cost you $200. And
I just feel like an idiot. I'm going to bring you this too, minus the long aerial, but because I still have to buy that little goofy. I have to make that little goofy whiptail antenna thing. I can't remember the material that it's used.
It still has a hole there.
Oh, nice.
I didn't fill.
Oh yeah, there it is. That's cool. That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, the little things, man. Yeah, and I love the fact that it's got the original spotlight holes that CHP put in it.
Not real pretty, but that's how they.
That's how they do it.
That's how they did it.
Yeah.
So I hope I hope the spotlights you got, the holes are going to line up.
So what I did was I bought, there's a company that remanufactures the spotlights for a notchback Mustang. And of course, all the hardware is there because on Mustangs, they had a shorter stock. You know, the Crown Vics had longer stocks. Because the steering wheel's closer to the A-pillar on this box body, they had a shorter stock on the actual arm for the spotlight. So what I ended up having to do, since I could not find any SSP box body Mustang spotlights from any city or agency, and you know, the actual dome of the spotlight is made out of a stainless, it's copper basically, and it's painted black from CHP paints and black.
Spotlight is glass, right?
It's glass. What happened was it was unique for CHP. They didn't have the little call out to the manufacturer. Just off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the manufacturer of the spotlight. But anyway, the company that I used that remanufactures these spotlights, it's plastic. It's an LED bulb. I mean, it's just everything's wrong.
Yeah.
So what I did was I bought a set of those because of the correct size and stock, and it's got the correct base. And then I found a guy that had takeoff from a 95 Chevy Caprice CHP dual spotlights in perfect condition, and I bought those off of eBay, and then I'm going to take the bases and the housings and put them together, and I'll have a perfect set of spotlights.
That's what you had to do to get it.
It was $650, you know, buying the original spotlights. Actually, it was more than that. I think it was about $700. It's because no one has this stuff anymore, and if they do, they're off the grid. I mean, I don't see them on any Facebook page. I don't see them on Instagram. I don't see them on any social media. So, you know, there's just a handful of websites dedicated to restoring California Highway Patrol cars or police cars in general. And it's a dying breed. You know, a lot of these guys are getting older, and you know, it's not easy. You know, hopefully they stay around, and I'd love to see this continue, but I don't think there's going to be a lot more CHP Mustangs floating around.
You're probably not going to build any more unless you find one that's all complete, not missing anything.
This is the last one. I mean, there are a handful of retired CHP cars that I know of that I want to buy because it'll make restoring them easier. But you know, if the prices are right, it'll make sense. Sure. But I'm getting too old to do these things. So, but this is fantastic, dude. I can't wait to see how that engine comes out.
What were you expecting when you walked around that corner? Were you?
No, this is what I expect because I know you. I've worked with you for a while now.
So you kind of see
and
pictures don't do it justice.
No, it doesn't do it justice because the lines and the you know, it's really hard to even capture it on video. But you know, being in the body shop business and owning multiple body shops over the years and having multiple body men and painters work for you, you learn when someone has the knack and the eye for detail, and it's laser straight. I mean, and you know, it's hard to get a body, and especially a Ford body, to look like this. You know,
you close the hood on this car,
and the panel fitment is just phenomenal. Yeah, it's just phenomenal.
And look at all these corners.
No, it's great, man.
All that stuff.
It's amazing.
Pretty good. Like I said,
it's gorgeous, Jason. It's the nicest one I've gotten from you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I've done several now, and this is beautiful. This
is the first time I've actually painted one of these back to black and white. And
yeah, it's cool.
I wasn't sure how the white and the black was going to come out. I just wasn't sure. I'm like, man, I hope that comes out good.
Yeah.
I know it's going to bug me if it looks like crap.
Well, and here's the thing, you know, there's different ways. It's funny because when they painted these at the factory, they weren't all exact. So some of these had a sharper line. In other words, this line went more like this.
It went to the very corner.
And then this went like this. It was like this. It went like this, and then it was a notable difference. And I've seen them in all of the historical photos. I see a little bit of both. So, you know, you really...
I looked at a lot of photos, and I looked at the car that you did.
Right.
And it looked like this thing was right in the bend of this molding.
Right.
And it's hard to look.
Yeah,
at
some of them were straighter, and then they went like this.
When they did these, they winged it.
Yeah, they did. And
there was no.
They're all a little different.
Yeah.
So
I put the quarter window because I remember the line was a little bit. This is how it was.
Right. This looks great. This is totally doable.
And again, I'm looking at pictures,
right.
videos. I don't have good quality. I don't have. A car
and you got to remember, this is the late '80s. Yeah. You know, these cars are coming off the factory. Mind you, these are pain in the butt cars. because these were coming through the line along with civilian GT Mustangs and of course notchbacks and convertibles and fastbacks, and the CHP cars or the police package cars that had unique paint finishes had to go back through the line and get repainted. You know, so
this car was painted all white.
Right.
And then they painted it black.
Yeah, and it's weird.
Doesn't make any sense.
It
seems like it'd be easier the other way around, but no, this car.
Yeah.
If you strip the paint inside the floor pan, of course we can't.
Right.
Now, there's white paint under the black.
Yeah.
So this whole car was shot on white.
Right.
Then they went and they masked off the white and painted the black.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
weird, and you've got to think about it too. At what stage, when it was going through the production assembly line, it was just the body. The body was going through the assembly line when they went and repainted it, because it didn't have an engine or drivetrain or any of the drivetrain components in it or interior components in it when it went back for its second respray to meet the CHP requirement with a white roof and white doors. And it's funny, your buck tags even say it.
Yeah.
You know, right on the buck
Paint
tag.
Doors and roof white.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Look at the fuel door. Look at the open and close that. See all the detail on that.
Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Oh yeah, that's beautiful in there.
There is a decal that's supposed to go on here that says unleaded fuel, but I haven't been able to find one.
Got it. Okay.
But it didn't have it on there, but it's supposed to have it.
Yeah, that looks.
Motorcraft gas cap.
That's awesome, man.
All the seals are replaced. There's a foam seal that goes in here and seals off this housing. All that's replaced.
That's cool.
So no water leaks. The bumpers, the correct screws. You had some weird screws in.
You know, and I think that's the difference. You know, when people say, "Oh, I always get a kick out of people that advertise their car as restored, and they talk about it. Oh, it's been fully restored, and you know, that is a really interesting. People have a completely different opinion of what restored is.
Like to me, this is. I know you want to call this a restoration. I call this a makeover. This is to me is a makeover.
Right.
The whole car's not restored. We don't have a new interior.
No.
We have a cleaned up original interior.
Exactly, and because this is a CHP car, I kind of want to go back to the original.
So
you know,
I look at this as a makeover.
Yeah.
Like my Chevelle built, that was a restoration.
Right.
Everything was new.
Right.
This car, we're trying to use as many original pieces. Even if they have a little bit of scratches and patina, we'll just clean them up.
And that's fair to say. I mean, that's fair to say. It's going to have its original engine. You know, it's not like we're buying a crate motor and dropping it in here, or a Coyote motor or something like that. But you know, considering that we're putting this back to original spec, you have to go with flow. You know, and the fact that this thing had seen its entire service life and then went and was sold to civilian life, and then sat around and God knows how many miles was put on it, and then just
whoever had it, they
now refurbished.
They actually they preserved the car because really, like I said, just judging by the interior, the car really wasn't used much after service.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. The story was the guy I bought it from the guy that bought it directly from CHP. Very similar to the story your car came from, the one I bought from you.
Yeah, the one 89, an old gentleman bought it.
Right.
Sat on it. He died.
Yep.
Car went to auction.
Same exact.
And I was able to obtain it.
Same exact story.
And that car had a pretty clean interior. That car had a better interior than this car.
Yeah, that car was nice interior.
This car had a better body.
Right.
Because that car had some issues too.
Right.
But
that car is still driven daily.
Yeah.
And it's not driven daily, but it goes to a lot of events.
Used.
Yeah, and it's sitting over at, for the most part, it sits at the Peterson Auto Museum. But you know, the gentleman that purchased it, who's a really good dude and a car guy, an avid car guy. He's the founder of the 1199 Foundation. That car gets taken to events on a regular basis, and I hear from him occasionally, and he tells me how much he loves it and how reliable it is. Yeah. Well, that's the plan, is to put these two cars together. And you know, honestly, since the guy that I used to actually make the shotgun rack, a really nice gentleman up in the Sacramento area, he's been so busy. I need to reach out to him again, but if he can't make that shotgun rack for me, I'm going to have to you know, that car brought back so I could replicate that shotgun rack. But you know, Bruce is a super nice guy, and it'll be fun to do a little bit of video stuff with the two cars together. So.